What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today we're back at it to answer your questions in another episode of For the Greater WAAAGH.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. That is what Alec Williamson did. He asks, if the Imperium could save Isha from Nurgle, could Isha resurrect the Emperor's body? That's a good question. There's a lot of theories as to how the Emperor can be resurrected. Isha is the Eldar goddess of fertility.
Fertility and I believe rebirth as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that GW would actually do that. Number one, Isha's lore isn't that popular. Especially, they created a whole new god. Why wouldn't they use that new god that they created?
Right.
So the possibilities of Isha coming out of slavery from Nurgle's grasp are pretty slim. And even then, I don't think any type of Xenos or anything other than a human would enter the Emperor's palace.
Right, but at the same time, you gotta think of the parallel with Yvraine and
Gilliman.
what happened with Gilliman, yeah.
Well, that's exactly why I think they wouldn't do it again, because it would just be the same thing.
It happened with Gilliman, it could, happen to the Emperor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the whole, xenophobia, there's no way Xenos would be able to get that close to the Emperor to revive him, even if it is an Eldari god. However, I do see one way of bringing Isha into the forefront, and that is when all 5 Crone Swords are now gathered, then maybe, Iniad and Yvraine and all those guys would maybe go into Nurgle's domain to rescue that chaos or that god from Nurgle.
Yeah.
So I could see that happening, but again, will it? And then what would that mean for the Eldar? Because they are a dying race. So with Isha being the goddess of fertility and rebirth, that would maybe be able to bring the Eldar back up in terms of numbers, and then back maybe to them being a superpower in the galaxy again, which that'd be great for them, but at the same time, that still doesn't really tie into the Emperor being revived.
Yeah.
So
I really wish that GW would pay more attention to the Eldar lore, or at least push it forward a little bit more, because they created this god, he's essentially an avatar, right?
yeah.
And that's it. They didn't touch anything with that lore anymore. As far as the new, what is it called, the whatever planet, the second Armageddon.
No, there's nothing in.
Yeah, but what would be really cool is if they do go back and they talk about the Eldar and their gods. It would not only tie in whatever the god interacts with, so other races, but it would tie back to the war in heaven, because the gods essentially are old ones. In the Blackstone Fortress, we learned that the Blackstone fortresses themselves are actually just the weapons that were, or when they talk about the sword or the whatever of all, these Blackstone fortresses were these weapons.
Exactly. Yep.
So connecting, it would be really cool if they do a rescue mission like the Harlequins or whatever to save Isha, and then they find out that Isha is actually just an old one, and the reason that she is the god of fertility and rebirth is because she knows the technology that the old ones used to create the Eldar in the first place. That'd be pretty badass.
Yeah, which is crazy having freaking Chaos God, a freaking old one in its prison.
Yeah. That would be cool. Would GW do that? No, and I don't think it's their fault. I think it's just people pay more attention to Space Marines and Imperium than any other faction.
Yeah.
Next question.
Lead therapy ASMR. Gersh, are or were you in the army? And also, how do fleet-based chapters maintain their supplies?
No, I was not in the army. And fleet-based chapters have supply points.
Yeah.
They're called... What are they called? It's a specific planet that's used... Oh, it's like a way station. I think that's what it's called. And they go, they resupply, and then that's it.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
No. Next question comes from D406. Ooh, those hounds. So the Imperium uses thrones as a currency. Are they some type of coin? What are they made out of? Gold, silver, platinum? That's a good question, and I think the answer to that is it's just a credit, an electronic credit.
Like a Bitcoin.
Exactly. Yep. Just like Bitcoin, because it makes more sense that would be easier to control. Like something that doesn't really exist is easier to control than actual physical gold, silver, or copper, because you might find a planet where it's like gold is not rare.
Right.
Yeah. Next question.
This one is by August Anderson. August, son of Ander. Hey, Sound Alchemist. I have a theory about the Dragon of Mars, aka the Void Dragon, and I was hoping you can give me your opinion on it. So, the Void Dragon is supposed to be the strongest Catan in existence. During the War in Heaven, the Eldar god Vol made the Blackstone fortresses, and for the sole purpose of killing the Void Dragon. So, a single Blackstone fortress can destroy a planet, 3 can collapse a star, and all 7 of them together could not kill the Void Dragon. So, if all 7 Blackstone fortresses couldn't beat this Catan, how did the Emperor do it? And this was before he went to Moloch to get his godlike powers. He thinks that the Emperor made a deal with the dragon, and that deal was for that the Emperor would be able to hide this dragon from the Necrons, and that the Mechanicus, or from the Necrons and the Mechanicus, but in exchange the Void Dragon would teach the Emperor to make Geller and Null fields. Good theory, and it makes sense, but I don't think that's how it played out. I feel like the Emperor, like, don't get me wrong, he is the strongest psyker in the galaxy, so to speak. No one's stronger than him unless maybe Zeech, but again, he is the strongest psyker being in the galaxy that we know of. So, knowing that, Catan, their weakness is warp of powers. So you've got the strongest psyker going against the strongest Catan, but you're fighting the Catan with its weakness at full level. So that is why the Emperor is able to beat the Void Dragon. And I think he used the Void Dragon as leverage with Mars and the Adeptus Mechanicus to broker that treaty and that deal. So it's like, hey, you guys can have the Void Dragon. He's going to be your Omnissiah. You're going to praise it. And in turn, it's going to fuel the machine spirit and make all your technology stronger. So I think that's how that ties in. Again, all this is just speculation. There's no real legit lore for that, but you got a really good theory going on there.
Yeah. When you were talking about the Void Dragon versus the Emperor, all I can think about is Pokemon, and how like one's probably water and one's fire. And
yeah.
Next question. Let's see. I have one from Bilal Mir. Is the Octarius War over? If it is, who won? No, it's not over. They're still fighting. So Gatsku is there, doing his thing, and yeah.
A. Lurantis. What is the relationship between Vulcan and Russ?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
They don't really interact.
One's fire, one's ice.
But they're both close combat.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, flamers, you have to get pretty close.
Same thing with like melta weaponry too.
Salamanders also don't really like. They're not big on psychers. Yeah. Space Wolves are also not big on psychers.
They have Rune Priests, which is different.
It is, even though it's the same.
Yeah.
And the Promethean cult is kind of similar.
And so they both don't follow the Codex Astartes.
Yeah.
Take that, Gilliman.
So I think they're just like that. I don't think they interact with each other, but they're very similar.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Random Chaos Worshipper. Do you guys think that Slanesh is the most bullied of all the Chaos Gods? I mean, the Inari, the memes, the Noise Marine models. No, I wouldn't say Slanesh is the most like, well, it's either that or corn, because there's a lot of memes for corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that I think it's corn and Slanesh. They're easy like targets to make fun of.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to meet a Slanesh player.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
Kind of like Dark Eldar, which maybe we might be getting Dark Eldar bat reps in the future. The far future.
Far future. Next question.
This one's by Defool06. So the 4 Chaos Gods have this great game where they order their forces to fight for dominance within the warp. Was there ever a time where a Chaos God ordered his Demon Prince to attack the realm of another Chaos God, and then that Chaos God is on the defensive, and he was forced to order his very own Demon Prince to fight the attacking Demon Prince? Kind of like Magnus versus Mortarion versus Fulgrim versus Angron, that type of fight.
Yep. So there's been a lot of situations like that, specifically Khorne versus Slanesh and Nurgle versus Tzeentch. But Khorne and Slanesh are like the main ones. And I just did a 40 facts on Be'lakor. It's a redo video. But Be'lakor has gone up against like greater demons, thinking that he's like pursuing his own thing, but in reality he's just doing the bidding of like another Chaos God. So yes, it happens a lot. Next question comes from Robert Has Downs Jr. Simple question. That's not a question. You're listing a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Next question comes from Jeff. Why did the Emperor let Terra fall during the Age of Strife? Because he's a bitch. His whole stance from the very beginning was that he wanted to be hands off. He wanted the humans to like do their own thing, which is why he allowed the Age of Strife. Well, it's why he didn't step in earlier in the Age of Strife. The Age of Strife happened because the Men of Iron attacked and because of the birth of Slanesh. So it's like two things that like he couldn't have predicted. He couldn't have predicted Slanesh, and even if he like didn't, I don't think he would have predicted the Men of Iron, just because he's always been anti-religion, science, and I think like AI is science. So in a way, I bet you he felt proud of all the Men of Iron, and then they turned, and he was like, oh shit. And there's a point that I wanted to make, and I just forgot it. Yeah, I mean, that answers the question, right?
Yeah. Last question is by John Deacon. He asks, what faction would you want to be killed by? For example, I would definitely pick the Tyranids, because there's no malice. They just want you dead, and then they eat you. I wouldn't want to be killed by the Tyranids.
Yeah, no.
Because you can be eaten, then die. Or you can get, like, splurted acid on, and, like, it could only hit, like, half of you, and then your half is melted. No, not Tyranids. Especially if there's gene stealers involved. Because then they could use you as, like, a birthing vessel, and no thank you.
Yeah. That is funny that he was like, yeah, it's the thought that counts.
Right.
No, you're in pain. Which one would you like to die?
I would say probably the Tau. Because there's a chance that they may not kill you. Just be like, I praise the greater good now. Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's a better answer than I was gonna say Space Marines, because like a Space Marine is just he's an angel of death and he's really good at it.
Yeah.
If you check out the latest Astartes trailer thing,
Yeah.
like they don't miss. There was a force field, but like if you get shot, it's gonna be a headshot and you're gonna die by a Space Marine like that.
Right. Or they're gonna shoot you in your stomach and it's gonna explode and you're gonna be splattered in half.
Yep. So yeah.
So Space Marine?
Space Marine,
Yeah.
but I do agree that Tau would be a little better because you could just become a Guevesa.
Yeah.
And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, comment down below. We have a Patreon. So it's a simple $1 a month, and it helps us buy chairs. We haven't bought chairs, as you can tell. Yeah.
That was fun.
This was Gershwan.
Sound Alchemist, and we'll catch you next time.